What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and in this video we're discussing Mike Rashid and his former business partner slash sponsor Richard Rodriguez making some huge accusations against Mike Rashid, all the way from him lying to his fans to underage women. So I've got all that plus much more coming up in this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it. What's up, Desktopers? Now, before I get into this one, I want to encourage you guys, if you like and appreciate this content, please give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. It helps me out a whole bunch, so if you can do that, that would be absolutely amazing. But let's get straight into this one. So I was listening to the most recent episode of After Hours on RX Muscle. We've had a guy on there recently called Richard Rodriguez, who actually spent a stint of 8 months in prison. He was sort of openly selling steroids online. He sponsored a whole bunch of big names in the industry, Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler. I believe he's even helping Mark Wahlberg and a whole bunch of other big names. And he said there's many more MLB players, UFC fighters, and all that sort of stuff. He has like a database of 41,000 or 40 something thousand names that he could expose, but he's only exposed sort of a small few at this point. And the latest name in his firing line is Mike Rashid. Now, Mike Rashid has 1.4 million followers on Instagram. He's sort of just like a big-time influencer, been sort of involved in a lot of different things. Him and CT Fletcher seem pretty close. And Mike Rashid was really the sort of the face of Iron Addicts Gym. I believe the one out in Miami, but I remember always seeing Iron Addicts associated with Mike Rashid. And I believe it was this Richard Rodriguez that actually brought Mike Rashid on to sort of be the face of Iron Addicts in Miami. And he had a lot to say about him. So I'm going to play this video. I'm going to be reacting to it, and you guys can let me know what you think at the end of this.
All right. Now, Richard, you wanted to bring up something about Mike Rashid. First of all, Mike Rashid was a pretty popular social media guy. Explain how you met Mike originally.
Well, Mike Rashid, when I was looking to launch my own gym, I was an avid follower of the hashtag Iron Addicts. I saw what CT Fletcher has done. I saw what Mike Rashid, Big Rob, the Strength Cartel, all the people that were associated with the Iron Addicts hashtag, what they've done from a branding perspective.
And they were great at branding that gym. Like, you knew CT Fletcher and you knew Iron Addicts, you knew Mike Rashid and you knew Iron Addicts. Like, they sort of all just went hand in hand. So the way they branded it was absolutely brilliant.
Let's face it, Iron Addicts Gym in California doesn't make money the way in which a real properly ran gym does. So I had the money to do it right. So CT didn't want to partake in the venture because he didn't want to be involved in Miami. So I brought in Mike. I knew about his history, about a has-been rapper, about being like a wannabe personal trainer and all that stuff. However, I saw what he was doing from a social media perspective. I wanted to bring him on.
Now, Mike Rashid is still huge on social media, 1.4 million followers, but really it was more like about 5 years ago, he was absolutely enormous. Like, he was one of the big names. And I even saw he did a podcast with Dexter Jackson and some other big names in bodybuilding. And I'd love to see him get back to that and actually see more content from Mike Rashid in that form, because I thought he was going to be doing this podcast regularly. But maybe he was doing a podcast and maybe he just didn't have big time bodybuilding guests on there. But I'd love to see him actually get back to that.
The relationship was always like unilateral, dude. It was from the standpoint where, for the amount of effort and the amount of investment that I was putting forth for Iron Addicts versus what he was asking for. I mean, like, the dude had horrible fucking credit. I'm putting him up in a fucking condo in the beach. This guy is like asking me for like women. I was like, he's asking me for like all this crap, and I'm like, dude, it's a gym. This is not like you're promoting, steroids.
Now, as I mentioned at the start of this as well, Richard Rodriguez was obviously selling steroids online, making huge amounts of money. He actually does say in this video at some point, I don't know if it's in what I've actually put up here online or if it was actually in the other part of the podcast, but he said he's making $45,000 to $50,000 US dollars a day at some point. So he was obviously making a ton of money. So when he says he wouldn't mind paying if he was promoting the steroid side of things, then obviously, it would be for good reason.
Steroids, yeah, I'll pay you $5,000 for your following because it's going to yield me 2% of your followers, and that's going to correlate to like $500,000 maybe the first month. This is a gym. But he didn't want to understand. Make a long story short, fast forwarded to my case that earned me 8 months. He started backpedaling like a motherfucker, talking about like, oh, well, I never knew anything about this. I never knew about the illegal operations in the gym, blah, 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 and all that other stuff.
So with him saying he's backpedaling, obviously Mike was probably trying to save his own ass. Whether he did know what was going on or not, seems like he probably did by the way Richard Rodriguez is speaking in this manner anyway.
Right. So first time I had access to a phone illegally on the in prison, I reached out to him like, yo, dude, what's up with the whole slandering and the bad mouthing, man? It's like, I thought we were brothers. I took care of you a lot. I brought you prostitutes. I brought you cars. I brought you pretty much everything you could possibly imagine. And you fucking slandering me, man. That's not right.
Brought him prostitutes, brought him cars, brought him everything that he absolutely wanted. Obviously, Mike must have been doing a lot for this guy for him to actually oblige and send him prostitutes and send him cars and all that sort of stuff. So he must have been drawing in some money, obviously.
My wife reached out to you, man, and it's like, you say that you have all this money, Mr. Philosopher, and all that other crap. It's like, what's up, bro? It's like, why you even hung up on my wife? And he's like, oh, well, nah, bro, I got to disassociate myself with you and all that other stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. Never, so past that. Fast forward 5 years later, I'm here building my presence again, my social media presence and all that other stuff. The dude sends me a fucking text message last fucking week. He's like, I would appreciate if you stop using my photos and my videos, on all your social media and all your posts.
I did look back and he has used Mike Rashid's photos and stuff like that, to promote himself and all that sort of stuff. But by the sounds of it, sounds like this Richard Rodriguez paid Mike Rashid and helped Mike Rashid a lot. So he's probably like, well, I've sort of earned it, whether that's legally binding or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the laws are around that, if he's using it to promote his own personal training or whatever. But very, very interesting that he actually reached out to him and asked him to take all that stuff down.
I'm like, listen, motherfucker, if that's the only time in which you're going to invest seconds to reach out to somebody that practically fucking made you and who you are right now, don't even invest those seconds into sending me a message, you fucking ungrateful piece of shit. And on top of that, if you do not want me to expose you for the womanizing, child molesting, underage fucking molesting person.
Don't make accusations. You can't back
no
up.
accusations.
Whoa. So he started to say child molest and then sort of stopped. And I think Dave and John Romano was like, whoa, don't make any accusations. They don't want that sort of stuff on their show. But then he did say underage. So he's definitely implying that Mike Rashid was with underage women, which is obviously a huge offense, a huge crime. And it's a strong, strong accusation to make. So obviously he's made that there on RX Muscle and, sort of implied it at least anyway. So I'm open to having Richard Rodriguez or Mike Rashid or both of these guys on the show at some point and letting them at least have their say on this channel if they're obviously available for that.
He's like, it's like 100%. If you don't want me to to really expose you for the true person that you really are, that I'll be more than happy to expose, dude. It's like, I personally think that as a professional, let us get on a phone call, let us get on a video, let's hash out our differences and do it for your fans and do it for the people that, that follow the industry, because you're so-called Mr. Philosopher, dude. You're so-called Mr. Positivity and all that stuff, but you are fake, you're ungrateful, and you leech onto people and just use them practically for their resources until they're no longer viable.
So it sounds like Richard Rodriguez wants to sort of get on a video or get on a YouTube interview or something like that with Mike Rashid one-on-one and to sort of go back and forth and sort this out publicly. I believe that's what he means, or maybe he means all privately as well. But obviously, like I said, I'm willing to have these guys on this channel, but saying that he's a user and all that sort of stuff, they're pretty strong allegations. So I don't know if Mike Rashid would be up to actually getting on a call with this Richard Rodriguez and trying to hash it out.
You're practically promoting a plant-based fucking protein, and I've seen you with my own fucking eyes. I ain't got videos of you eating more fucking steak than a bull, dude. It's like, don't be a hypocrite, bro. Like, this industry is just full of freaking hypocrites. Do it for your followers. I could show him a slew of messages from people saying, hey, I unsubbed him because of all his lies, bro. His lies is worse than actually Michael Hearn saying that he's a natty, bro.
So promoting a plant-based protein and actually still eating meat. I mean, we've seen Kai Green do the exact same thing. Kai Green basically released a plant-based ebook with a full diet and all that sort of stuff in there. And obviously, you know, he still eats meat. I've seen what Kai Green requires when he comes to Australia, and he basically puts his menu or his diet there, and what he actually eats. He eats a ton of meat. He actually eats more meat than any pro bodybuilder that I've actually seen before. So, you know, this is not sort of an uncommon thing. Now, Kai Green's I thought was slightly more hypocritical, putting that out there and saying it's healthy and all that sort of stuff. I don't know what Mike Rashid's actually done with that, but putting out a plant-based protein doesn't necessarily mean you can't be a meat eater, in my opinion. But maybe he was saying that and just sort of lying. I don't know.
And what he has done to other people, not just me, to women in the industry that he has dated, to, you know, of utilizing them as a he was practically like a pimp telling girls, it's like, hey, hang out with me, date me, and all that stuff. I'll build your social media profile and all that other stuff, and then scrap them. When he was tired of those women, he would literally scrap them.
Man, Richard is going hard. Richard is going hard.
This dude was like an R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein type of person, messed up all in one, bro. He would pimp these women and give them a false story, you know, to the standpoint when they were no longer a benefit to him, dude. He would dump them. And it's sad. And look, I want to move past this whole situation.
Did he make you money though? Because he was obviously he was kind of like the face of your gym there, wasn't he?
Yeah, but you got to look at it this way. The amount of money, did he help me get budget positive sooner rather than later? Absolutely.
So R. Kelly and Weinstein rolled into one. That is probably one of the worst things you can say about someone. I don't know what's true and what's not, but Mike Rashid is definitely going to come out and put something out after this, because that is a rough comparison.
But look at it from the standpoint of how much money I put in.
How much were you paying him?
Yeah, I was paying him collectively with his contract of WFN and his contract as partner with Iron Addicts. He was easily the highest paid person, probably on average, paying his apartment, paying his car and all that stuff, easily about $15,000 a month. Wow. Easily.
So Richard Rodriguez was obviously paying a huge amount of money to Mike Rashid, but, you know, if he was ever unhappy with the sort of arrangement back then, he could have easily just, you know, stomped it and then been like, no, unless there's a contract in place where he couldn't sort of get out of it. But the fact that he's supplying him, or apparently supplying him with prostitutes and cars and all that sort of stuff, I mean, that's obviously going to be outside of a contract. So it's sort of on Richard a little bit at this point that he continued to do that if he did have an issue with it. But I think the issue he does have is that, you know, Mike Rashid has come out and said things about him, or really disassociated himself with Richard Rodriguez around all the legal trouble, and, you know, maybe not standing by him. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you know anything more about this story. Do you know Richard Rodriguez or Mike Rashid personally? And did you find anything out from those guys about this whole situation? Because this isn't going to stop here, I don't believe. I believe this will turn into something much bigger. He did obviously speak about Flex Wheeler. He actually even put out "Fuck Flex Wheeler" t-shirts, which is obviously a big, bold statement, and I don't know if Flex is going to go anywhere with that and try to stop the sale of those. But he's come after some big names: Mark Wahlberg, Flex Wheeler, and a bunch of others in past episodes as well of After Hours. I put the link to the full episode in the description below if you do want to check that out. And that's it for this video, guys. So if you guys like and appreciate this content, please give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, including my new podcast with myself, Brett Wilkin, Martin Fitzwater, and Nathan Diasha. I just recorded that just hours ago. I think you guys will really, really like it, and we're looking for a name for that show as well. So make sure you get in the comments on that one when it goes up, and let us know what you think we should name the show. So that's it for me. For Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.